I know. Hey, everybody, it's Friday night, which means it's time for the Woo Train. And my man, the myth, the ET legend, R Keith Andrews. By the way, ladies, apparently he is now off the market. He is off the market. I'm looking at Keith on my other camera right now, and he's just pissing himself laughing right now. Let's give a shout out to everybody who is here so far. Hi, gorgeous Kimberly. Good to have you here. Johnny Dazzles, you're looking dazzling tonight. Johnny Rebke, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on in. The gorgeous Jules, always a pleasure. Renee, you look lovely tonight. Cat Chaser, always a pleasure to have you here for the Woo Train. Brett Lewis is here, everyone, which means we can officially start the show all the way from the UK. Good morning, Andrew Fricker. Ladybug Bigelow, don't mess with her. She is Alaska's greatest athlete. Right there, the gorgeous and talented Ladybug Bigelow. Burrito, you're making me hungry, man. How you doing? Love you. Nomad, good to have you back. The gorgeous and talented Larry Schultz is here. Yes, there he is, ladies. There he is. The Ronald Penton has arrived. Hey, we got a double shot of Harry Balls, senior and junior, in the stands tonight. Welcome. We're bringing the blades for you guys just so you can clean up a bit before you take on the show. Fast Hemi, good to have you here. Pyridoxine, where have you been hiding? Where have you been hiding, man? Good to have you back. Thank you. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, what is up, my friend? Good to have you here, buddy. Good to have you here. Troy SR71, not TR3B. There he is. It is a pleasure to have you back again, my friend. The Jim Christie is here, everyone. Yes, it's the Jim Christie. What else we got? Scrolling down. Walter, good to have you back. Paul Tavares of the Toronto Maple Leafs is here. Paul Tavares. Could be the lacrosse player. Paul Tavares. Steam Train Mark, thank you for letting us know we are alive tomorrow. I appreciate the prediction from the future. Boo to Ghost 66. Thanks for coming on in. Hey, Millennium Pharmacy, good to have you here. Rich Hilke, welcome back. Oh, there she is. The gorgeous beauty of Brandon. Yes, the gorgeous beauty of Brandon. Manitoba Becky is here. There she is, everyone. Give her a little bit of a wave. JML, where's your pencil? Where is your pencil? I hope it's sharp, beautiful. Good to have you here. Lord of Land, thank you for coming on in. Larry, good to see you. Human Carl's here, everyone. Human Carl. Not to be mixed up with Alien Carl or Demon Hunter Carl. Human Carl, one of our favorite veterans here. And Carl, we'll give you a little clap for all the great service you did for your country, the United States of America. We love you, man. Thank you very much. Dirty Filth, good to have you back, brother. Inner Voice Enterprises, you know who that is, people? That's R Keith Andrews, riding in on the Woo Train right into the chat room right there. And yes, ladies, he is taken. He is officially off the market. Stetson John, good to have you here. Long Island Bigfoot. Big Rob, good to see you. Kingslayer, always a pleasure. Chris Jarvis, thanks for coming on by again. Awesome Annie Svensson is here. Worsley's here. Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe who's here right now. It's the gorgeous and talented Florida Steph Dickey. There she is, everyone. She'll be signing autographs at the first commercial break, so make sure you hit it up. Oh, Becky Belling is here. The beautiful and talented Becky Belling. Thank you for coming on in. Appreciate you. I think I'm done with my imagination for the night. Oh my gosh. I think I barely breathed through that whole thing, Keith.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, actually. It's like just take one big breath and run.
I don't need a Patreon. I have my Space Travelers Club on the website. That way I don't have to pay Patreon anything.
Nice.
Hey, Zeus. How you doing, brother? Good to have you here. Blessed night to you as well. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. Northern UFOs, always a pleasure. Mm-hmm. Where are we here? I don't wanna go. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. BBD Warrior, thank you for coming on in. It's R Keith Andrews tonight, everyone. Oh, the Woo Trains. We're not stopping at 10 or 11 or even 12 tonight. We're going up to 15 tonight on the Woo Train meter. My throat's a little sore today, so I apologize. Rick's Realm is here, everyone. Rick's Realm. Yes. All right. We're going to send out that tweet. I don't want to go. Anybody like Steel Panther out there? Steel Panther? I was rocking out to them before the show. 30 seconds, Keith.
Yep, we're here. Just making a couple of notes of other things I've been working on.
All right. Hey, Rono Susan, good to have you here. Long Island Bigfoot, thanks for coming on by. Remember, everyone, a great way to start this show and to support what we do is, get on that super chat. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Buy some swag at the SOR Vault. New shirts coming very soon. Hey, Nate Foot, how you doing? Here we go right now. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Near the beginning of each month, we all hop along on the Woo train, and we take a ride with our big friend here, R Keith Andrews. Now, Keith, by the way, I'm having troubles talking tonight. Keith gave me some exciting news right before the show. He really did. So it's kind of rattled me a little bit. So I'll try and finish off this intro. ET Contactee R Keith Andrews discusses the purpose of aliens coming to Earth and having contact with us. Keith is not only an ET contactee, he is also very highly intuitive. His gifts have helped him help others for more than 30 years. He proclaims to be in touch with more than 50 extraterrestrial species since childhood. He's a near-death experiencer as well. Now he helps counsel people who are going through the exact same thing. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. R. Keith Andrews, how you doing, brother?
Well, a little annoyed I can't get my computer to work right, but, that's just me. Other than that, not bad.
You know what? We should break the news to everybody here. Now, there's going to be some disappointed ladies out there because you hit me up with some amazing news that you're officially off the singles market here, and you've got yourself a brand new girlfriend who's pretty cute.
Well, from my standpoint, I thought so anyway.
Oh, my goodness.
Before anybody gets any idea there, no, we're not about to discuss it.
Oh, come on, Keith. At least give us her name. Give us her name.
Not until I get her permission to do so.
Oh, is she listening tonight?
Unlikely.
Does she listen?
Actually, we discussed a staggering amount of what's going on from that end.
Well, okay, and we'll hit you up with one more question here before we move on. I got to ask you, is she an alien abductee?
Now, that one I'm definitely not giving you an answer to because she hasn't discussed it exactly yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, it's always a whole different ballgame, but since we haven't discussed it with her, we're not about to open that door.
Oh, look at you. Look at R. Keith here playing the defensive boyfriend right off the bat here on Spaced Out Radio. This is a first for us. This is a first. I'm very proud to have this happen, actually. Very proud. Keith, I consider you one of the great friends of this show. You're an amazing human being, but we always have new listeners who may not understand or know who you are all about. Tell us a little bit of a breakdown on how you became you.
Well, I'll leave the beginning of that little journey to somebody else. But in a nutshell, the day I was born, I flatlined while I was in the incubator. And that was when I ran into the Council of 12 to start with. So before I even really got introduced to the world, I was already interacting with the off-worlders. Then while I was in the incubator, I flatlined. Then at 20 months, I did it again. And then 5 years was when I ran. In between that and the 5-year mark, I was taken a number of times by some not so pleasant individuals where the real abductions took place, as in the negative interactions. Then at 5 years old, I had my first real positive interaction with an off-worlder. Because quite frankly, a Srzazian saved my life.
Tell everybody what a Srzazian is.
Srzazian is your 7.5 to 8 foot to 8.5 foot reptilian. Very honor bound, very peaceably. They're a complete military base. They are the humans' allies, and they've got an ongoing war with the Teklak, which are your 4.5 to 5.5 foot reptilian raptor-like. And talk about diametrically opposed opinions on things. So when I talk about having friends in high places, we're talking orbital.
Keith, it's a life that most people cannot understand or even comprehend, yet this has been very normal for you throughout your life. How has it defined you as a person?
Well, it has completely eliminated my ability to relate with, if you will, the average person. Right, because so many people question, are there off-worlders, are the ancient races around? And I look at it going, well, I don't even question it, I just question how people don't know. Which is what led to the writing of the books. And right now, I think I'm at over 90 that I've documented. I'm currently working on volume 2. On volume 2 of Races of the Worlds, where I'm documenting all of the races that I deal with. So, I mean, I end up getting brought up, and the nice part about it is, I talk about this is what I go through. I've had enough witnesses, my own son included, to back up what I say about the experience of going missing for at a time, and not having any way of tracking it. I mean, for me, this is just plain normal, but it is not a life I would recommend for anybody. Yeah, you get to see some phenomenal places. Like I've been on a planet where a sandstorm on Earth, is blinding. Right, I mean, they're murder to be in. A sandstorm on the Srzazian homeworld will peel the flesh from a human's body in a heartbeat. And that's just, and then of course, if we go over to Zeta Reticuli, then you've got a place where if you think the animals are bad here, you should try the plants there. But I mean, it's like I tell people, my life is more science fiction than anything else.
Oh, very true. Very true. But you're also a very genuine guy. I know you personally, and I can vouch for anybody. I consider you a good friend, and I would say you're probably one of the most genuine people that I've ever met. A lot of people out there, and I see it in the chat rooms, and I see it on the comments on our archives keys. They say, Dave, how do you take this guy seriously? This sounds like complete BS to me. Keith, I realize you have to have a strong backbone with stuff like this because there's always people who are going to be critical. But when it comes to what you're talking about, that critique becomes more and more savage, if we could say that. How do you deal with that?
Very carefully. I made the mistake. We got to ask that question the one day on the radio, and thank you very much for smoothing that one over because it just came out wrong. It was right, but definitely not socially acceptable. The way I look at it is this. I don't bother trying to explain to prove it to people, because I look at one very simple thing, and I defy anybody to do it. Prove that New York itself actually exists right this moment, unless you're living, even if you're living in it, you cannot prove it to me, where I'm living, that it exists right now. You know, people say, well, if I don't see it, I don't believe it. Yet there are a staggering number of people that believe in God, and don't get me wrong, so do I, probably more than most. Right? You don't have to believe in gravity for it to really play havoc with your life if you step off the balcony. So I look at it this way. Whether people want to believe it or not, I'm not going to be able to prove it. I've had enough people with me that have physically backed it, like that have been there physically when things have happened. Not the least of which is one girlfriend that was over when I was actually returned. And they dropped me from the ceiling. By the way, that was not fun. For anybody that's actually been taken and dropped back into their room,
I have.
Knowing when they miss the bed.
I didn't miss the bed. I did not miss the bed, but I woke up about 2.5 feet above my bed. And I remember falling into it and flailing my arms and hitting my partner across her back. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, in my case, I came from the roof and they missed the bed. Half of me missed the bed. But the fact of the matter was, I had a witness at the time as well.
Is that how your sideburns shortened up?
No, that was fire. No, we actually had a little bit of a problem there, and it was just no fun, but bit of a start to the system. But no, the reality is, I cannot prove what I'm telling people because I'm not going back into a lab rat. But I've dealt with enough professional Terran shrinks that have told me. As a matter of fact, it was the first psychiatrist I actually went to. He was the one that opened the door and says, "We've got a problem. You've been abducted.
You got aliens, yeah."
Yeah, my first positive experience in life was off-world. And it was absolutely priceless because I watched an Earthrise, which is simply a case of get on a ship, go to the other side of the moon, and watch the Earth come up.
That's awesome. That would be incredible. So literally what you're saying is, or let me ask you this, Keith, as we start getting into our, let's get the woo train into first gear here. All right. What's it like being on a spacecraft?
Depends on the spacecraft. There are a couple that I would love to get onto and cannot. But when you, like, for instance, when you're on the consortium flagship, the numbers of people, I mean, people worry here about the color of humans. On the consortium flagship, you're looking at people from multiple different races. And they do not all look human by any stretch. You've got when people talk about reptilians, understand that I'm aware of off the top of my head, there are something in the neighborhood of 15 different reptilian races. Right. And the nice part is none of them are trying to take over the Earth. But the answer to your question is, most of the time it's quite relaxing. It's kind of like being on a cruise ship. Of course, I sort of have to extrapolate that because I've never been on a cruise ship. I've been on a ferry. But no, there's a lot of walking around. They've got a 0G area in there. 0G being zero gravity. You want to see something remarkable, go on a starship and go out to the edge of a black hole.
What's that like?
Well, the distortion of what you're looking at is absolutely phenomenal. Picture the biggest drunk that you've ever been on where your eyesight goes completely wonky.
Yes.
Then get high.
Well, we'll leave that for the audience.
Yeah. The sad part there is I've done both. You know?
Let me ask you, Keith. You know, when people talk about ships, they'll often say that they walked into this tiny ship that looked like it couldn't hold more than 2 or 3 people. But the minute they get inside, this thing's as big as an amphitheater.
Yep.
How does that happen?
Try spatial reconfiguration. Sorry. Well, that's the answer, but...
What? Okay, I missed that. What?
Oh, what I called it was trispatial reconfiguration.
Okay. Now fill me in.
Basically, what they do is they modify the distance between the molecules of both the people and the ship, giving you the appearance of more room.
Is it just, you know, alien wallpaper that makes the room look larger? Maybe mirrors?
No, it's actually physically making the room. It's because it's out of sync with this reality. Some of the ships have a configuration where they're out of sync with this physical 3 dimension, and therefore you can actually put a bigger ship in the same place. It's
that just defies all science, though.
Absolutely does. But then science is confused by the fact that the modern bumblebee can fly. See, according to modern physics, the bumblebee, the funny little bee with the tiny wings, could not physically get off the ground. Modern science tells you that the table that you're sitting at is solid. Okay, but the reality is modern science also tells you it's not solid. So Terran science is a little limited. Okay, if you think about it, mankind relies on line of sight communication, and the off-worlders rely on direct line communication, meaning their communication will pass right through solid objects, doesn't have to go around them. But the ships are rather remarkable. I will tell you, on the Srizazian starships, there are places that I cannot go without an escort. But then you got to understand, these guys are 8.5 feet tall, built like a freight train, and they come from a high density gravity, from a high gravity planet. So a lot of their buttons, a lot of their triggers and what have you, are too heavy for me to actually move.
Have you flown a craft?
Yes.
Is it like the movie Flight of the Navigator?
I would love to say I know. I've never actually seen the flight.
It's a Disney movie from 1986, where a kid gets into a spaceship, goes back in time, and then the spaceship brings him back, but it's 8 years later. And he goes back and he's flying the craft pretty much on consciousness and touch.
Well, then the answer would be, given that, the answer would be yes. They use a holographic biomagnetic interface. Have you ever I think it's on some of the Star Wars movies or Star Trek, some of them of the modern space movies, where they've got as a matter of fact, if you watch the Avengers and you take a look at if you take a look at what the heck is his name, Iron Man's computers, where he's got all the holographic interface or all the holographic displays up and he moves them all over the place, that's normal. That's not done with CGI for them. That is just the way they operate.
Very true. Question coming in from Star A, as we got 4.5 minutes before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour, R Keith. What do you know about the hybrid program?
Fair chunk. Basically, it was perfected by the Greys. A lot of different races have tried it, but the Greys got it down to a fine art. And what the reason for it is they literally are using humans as a cultural interpreter. They're growing the cultural interpreters Because a computer can be used to, you can plug in all the words and syntax and what have you for a language, but you will not understand the importance of it. DNA itself, even in humans, carries the memory of the past. So by growing a cultural hybrid, right, what they end up with is an individual that instinctively understands the culture of both races that they're hybridized. In a nutshell, that's sort of the easiest way to put it.
Is it happening because their races are struggling to survive, or they can no longer reproduce? Are they from the future where, getting a piece of action doesn't work anymore?
No, all of the above is, quite, from my understanding, completely false. First of all, you can't travel back in time to start with. Second of all, these races have been around a lot longer than mankind. They did not need mankind to sort out their problems. Right? So the races are not, and like, there's this neat little rumor that Greys are a dying race, and they've done the cloning too far, and the base structure is gone now. Completely off kilter. There are some robots, some artificial entities that have been built that look like Greys, and the reason for that is pretty simple. Just like mankind has built some robots built like humans, the Greys did the same thing. Right. But they are not a dying race. They are not using mankind to extend their own lifespan. Quite frankly, there's enough of them that are floating around. They really have no shortage of people. It's kind of like asking if rabbits are ready to die out. That I'm aware of the Greys alone, there are 15 different colors and minor skeletal reconfigurations of the Grey genome. And just like with humans, each one has its specialty, each one has certain quirks to it, but they're all the same race.
All right, let's move on here, because if they are the same race, Keith, is it the same? Is the DNA the same as ours?
No. But see, the human DNA is one way. Greys are another. The Srazazians are a different DNA. Basically, what the Greys did was they figured out, and I cannot explain the science behind it, so we won't go there. But the Greys figured out how to modify it to actually make the hybridization possible.
So where does it put the Greys on a human scale then?
What do you mean, where does it split them on the human scale?
Well, I mean, if they're taking the DNA, if they're taking the sperm, the eggs, the ovum, whatever it may be that they need in order to, go into the mechanic shop and create a new car.
They're using that for the hybrid program only. They don't use it for them personally. Like, what they're doing with the DNA from humans is they are using it to create human-grade hybrids, human war hybrids, human tech-leg. That's an interesting cross. You've got your human Maldoc hybrids. These are just simply that human DNA is easier to work with.
Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. R Keith Andrews, the ET Connection on Spaced Out Radio continues with your questions next. Sean Logan. Geez, Dave, don't talk through the damn commercials or the music. Sean Logan says he welded the last ring today.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Unless he's making like some Olympic torch or something. That would be kind of cool. I could use a torch. If you want to weld me a torch, I will take an Olympic-sized torch.
Yeah, that's one of those little projects. I know exactly what Sean's referring to. Sean's been in touch with me outside of the station.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's welcome him to our show here in our chat room. Virgil, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming on in. The count is at 6, Virgil. Count is at 6 right now. We're counting how many times you use the word literally tonight, Keith.
Well, somebody else better, because I haven't got a clue.
Oh, there's little Mikey Smith, the Bigfoot legend of the caribou right there. What are you doing awake, dude? Excuse me. Hello, Jenny. Looking gorgeous, Jenny. Little Mikey Smith, there he is. The Bigfoot warrior himself. Parts unknown, height unknown, weight unknown. Are you texting on your own phone again? Because I can't read that shit. Oh. Oh God, I don't know. That looks funny to me. That's funny to me. Oh. Do I tell the story, Mike? Do I tell the story? David, looks like you're drinking moonshine. No, I'm on water tonight. My throat is kind of bothering me. What happens when you live up here? All of a sudden, just one day your throat's like, oh, I'm going to be sore today. And then tomorrow it'll be fine. Because I talk too much at work. And then at my nighttime job, which is with you guys, I talk too much. Scott Taylor's here, everyone. Scott Taylor. Now, my buddy Mike in the chat room here, I got to tell you, he's lost, I believe, the last count, 72 pounds in the last 8-9 months. 72 pounds.
Well, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. And he's done it by eating healthy, working out. And now he's got a gas problem. But that's okay. We'll accept that. We'll accept that. 72 pounds. The guy is a lean, mean, Bigfoot machine now. Is it 72? We've got just under 2 minutes here, Keith.
Yeah, no problem.
I lost 60 pounds once. It went from my tits to my ass, though.
That's not lost. That's just misplaced.
Well, it went down.
Well, true.
90 seconds. All right, 1 minute. Big shout out to Mr. DB Cooper, Worsley, Lord of Land, Bigfoot Rob, and the gorgeous and talented Manitoba Becky for the super chats tonight. I really do appreciate the love and support from all of you. And you know what? We're going to continue on rolling here with R Keith Andrews. And thank you so much. Hey, Rick's Realm, good to have you here, man. We got 35 seconds. Want to remind you, a great way to support this show is through the super chat, as well as if you're new, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up as well. You can do a little shopping at the SOR Vault on our website. We're going to have new shirts. I'm going to say as of Monday. as of Monday, you can start ordering your brand new Spaced Out Radio shirts. And I'm going to get the hats a little bit. I'm going to get the hats very soon. I got to get mine for my buddy Mikey and my buddy Mark and myself first. But soon. Here we go, everyone. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with the ET connection with R Keith Andrews, my friend and ET companion here, my friends. And if you're ready for some woo, we're going to turn it up a few notches tonight because we're going to take your questions right off the bat. Keith's You can follow him on Twitter at R Keith Andrews as well. Keith, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me, and welcome back to everybody else.
All right, let's move on. Rich Hilke is asking, did the Zeta Reticuli aliens create Sasquatch?
No. Sasquatch, and Dave and I have had this argument for a long time. Sasquatch is Terran. There is another race called the Wara, which the Greys also did not create. Yeah, I know. We can argue about that later.
All right, next question comes from Troy. If you go back in time, do you return to the present that you left or the one that you created?
Well, first of all, you can't go back would be the problem. Because going back in time, literally, and I like the way it was explained, when you go back in time, you're actually going to your present time at that point, which means anything you change back there will have no bearing on what you left behind in the first place. Now, moving forward can be done quite easily. They just lose all track of you in the present until you surface again. Okay, but the whole concept of traveling back in time doesn't work. You can go back, you can look back in time and watch it kind of like a video, but you can't alter the thing.
All right, let's move on. Mooney wants to know, why are the Greys gray and not another color like fuchsia or teal?
Well, first of all, some of them are. The ones that most humans have seen are gray, but they come in black, they come in yellow, they come in a kind of an odd color of blue. They come in red. I've seen them in purple. I have no idea what you would call the one color, but, you know, of course I have trouble with color to start with. But they come in a variety of different colors. Take a look at the colors of the rainbow and you'll find them.
There's brown ones as well.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the alien in the forest, there were two aliens there, and Samantha Mowat saw the second one, which was about a 6-foot tan-colored gray. Now, I know people will say, well, how can you have a tan-colored gray? Gray is just the terminology for the dudes who have the big gray black eyes and the big heads and everything like that, and they're usually seen as gray. So that's why they're nicknamed the Greys.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is exactly the issue.
All right, moving on. Commonwealth Andrew, good morning in the UK to you. How do the Greys create oxygen in their crafts, and at what density is it?
Well, for the humans, they modify it to Earth density. As far as how they create it, they simply combine one part oxygen, one part oxygen, no, that would be water. They take a look at the chemicalogical configuration of Terran atmosphere, and by simply modifying the air in the molecules in their own ship in the areas they want humans, they do it that way. Now, the fortunate part there is Greys actually breathe a very similar type of air to what humans do. You know, it's a very similar configuration. It's a lot moister. Like they're a lot more comfortable in tropical rainforests than they are in the warmer climes. But I mean, making one element into another is child's play for them. I mean, it's basic chemistry on their part, or basic physics. I'm not sure which one it would fit in. Needless to say, I myself am not I'm not what you would call a scientist. I'm certainly not a researcher.
Okay, so with that being said, oh man, with that being said, in regards to the density of the oxygen, wouldn't that have to be changed or aerated somehow? Because a species from a different planet, let's say there's microbial organisms on Mars, they're not going to be able to handle the oxygen on Earth.
Very correct. And you are right. They modify the molecular density of the atmosphere based on current samples taken from the planet that they're pulling people off of. Okay, because, I mean, bear in mind, Earth is not the only planet that they're pulling people off of.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so have you been to other planets where you've been able to breathe the air?
Yep.
Where are they?
Well, heck, I can't tell you the directions to get to your city. How do you want me to tell you how to get to another planet?
Well, you've been there enough. You should have frequent flyer miles by now.
Okay, now you've driven around down this end of the world. You personally know where Penticton is, right?
Yes, my sister lives there.
Okay, you know where the airport is?
Yep.
Okay, it took me 6 trips from Kelowna to Penticton directly to the airport with a navigator to remember where the heck it was. I'm not what you can say. This is why I get nervous when I travel. But the answer to your question, I have been to the Greys' homeworld. I have been to the Srazazian homeworld. I've been to the moon. I've been to Io. I've been to Titan. That's a fun one. You know, I haven't been taken to the Moldakian homeworld, thankfully. Kind of like I'm also happy to have never been to the Teklak homeworld. Of course, I've also never been invited to dinner with the Teklak.
So how were you able to breathe on these other planets? Did you have an oxygen bottle with you?
Not exactly, but they have modulator. They've got basically they're environmental suits designed for humans. You know, I mean, and when you go to the Srazazian homeworld, you just plain don't go outside without one of their suits. Okay, it's just not healthy. I mean, you'll end up dead really quick. And much as I heal fast, I just don't heal that fast.
All right, let's continue on with R Keith Andrews and the ET connection. Tammy, the gorgeous Tammy out of Manitoba, is asking, if they modify the air, then how do abductees breathe on the ship?
I think I missed the way that began, how that can be actually answered.
Well, if they're modifying the air while on craft, okay, for the different species, how do abductees, obviously, I'm assuming she means from this planet, how do they fare, how do they breathe without being poisoned or anything like that?
Well, because they modify the air in the given room that they're putting the abductees in. The abductees are not permitted to run around freely.
What about contactees?
Contactees are, but they usually have a rebreather set up. they've usually got they've either got the equipment to actually breathe that they're handed to actually breathe with, or the other Greys, for instance, they've already gone through the exercises to be able to breathe. You know, it's kind of like when you're learning to scuba dive. You go through training to be able to. Okay, I mean, that's basically how they, as far as I understand, that's essentially what they do.
Right. Right. Okay. Let's get to another question here. Star A is asking, I don't know if it's Star A or Star A. I really don't, because the A is capitalized in the end. Do the tall Greys and small Greys work together? If so, how is that working relationship? How does it work?
Oh, that's the easy part. The tall Greys are the ones they are the controllers. They're the ones that dictate. They're the leader class, the leader caste, if you will. The little Greys are the scientists. So the tall ones go, this is what we need done, and the little guys go, okay. And they make it happen. So how does it work? Quite well. They actually, because of the way that they are born, the way that they evolved, they don't question the little Greys or the scientists. They've got no interest in controlling the bigger things. And the bigger guys, the tall ones, just don't have the interest in spending time on the tiny wee little thing, on the little scientific things.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on here and see if we have any more questions from our audience so far. Okay, haven't missed any up above. Haven't missed any in that chat room yet. Oh, yes. Andrew Fricker, UK Andrew, good morning. He wants to know what the music is like. Are there any full-on gray rock bands or boy bands?
Well, by human standards, it's not the same type of music. But the answer would be yes.
What's it sound like? Give a little sample there, R Keith.
Yeah, you're funny.
I thought I had you.
Yeah.
But does it sound more country, more metal, more EDM, more emu, more Star Wars, more Star Trek?
Or it'd probably be closer to nature-based technopop. Have you ever personally heard the Aurora Borealis?
Not with my ears, no. I've heard it on tape.
Okay. I heard it once with my ears, and that's an excellent way to explain part of it.
Is it almost symphonic?
Almost, yes. But it's symphonic in a way that it goes beyond what you hear.
Very cool.
In other words, you literally feel what their music is. Kind of like the same way a deaf person feels music.
Gotcha. Worsley is asking, do you know if they use an algorithm akin to the one in Isaac Asimov's Foundation books?
Never having read Isaac Asimov's Foundation books, I have no clue.
But?
Well, I do know that there are certain fundamental miscalculations on Terran mathematics and Terran calculations. So would it be similar? We can say yes, in as much as it's a mathematical configuration. But since I don't know what the actual calculation even looks like on the Foundation books, my brother would be able to answer that. But well, at least what the Foundation looked like. But we can tell you this: the original theory of relativity that Einstein tried to propose to people, and was not the same as the one that was finally published. Okay. So, do they use a mathematical base? The answer is yes. But understand, the Greys use a base 8. They do not use base 10. See, humans use base 10 mathematics because they ran out of fingers. Okay. There's even a tribe in, I'd love to know what math they use. There's a tribe in Africa that the entire tribe is polydactyline. So they don't have a stable set of numbers, a stable set of digits.
All right, let's move on to another question as we got about 8 minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. R Keith Andrews is our guest tonight. Corns, the booking guy, is asking, do some aliens keep humans on leashes and walk them as pets?
Well, the answer to that would be yes. Not on consortium ships, and certainly not exactly approved of. Right, but then some off-worlders actually use humans as dinner sets. As in, they invite you for dinner, you're not coming home. So yes, there is such a thing as a pet human. There is such a thing as human slavery. People don't like it much, but it does exist.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Let's move on here. And where's the next question from our audience? All right. That's not one there. Oh, Sean is asking, Keith, have you talked to other humans on the ships or on other planets? Is there an organized group of humans who are talking to or working with the off-worlders?
Yes, to both of those questions. Can I tell you where they are on this planet? No, because quite frankly, it doesn't usually come up other than, oh, you're human. Right. Neat part about it is Mobians and humans are identical. You'd never know a Mobian from a human if they were walking beside you. But there are absolutely groups of humans that do interact with each other. And before somebody comes up with that brilliant idea, no, there is not a rebellion that is in the brewing.
All right, moving on. Robert wants to know if aliens have souls.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I know that was a real short answer, but it's pretty much that way. Aliens also, most of them believe in a higher power of one form or another. Okay, not all aliens are carbon-based. There's a lot that are based in different elements to start with. Okay, not the least of which is if you take a look at Vulcans, they're crystalline. Vulcans are not like the Star Trek show.
All the way from the flat earth prairies of Saskatchewan. Please wave to us, Prairie Fire, so we can all see you. Prairie Fire is asking, what are the aliens' economies like? Example, what are they based on?
That is pretty much as varied as it gets. That said, frankly, in the book Races of the Worlds, I actually cover that in the edition I've got out. I've got 59 races, including their baseline government structures, and it is varied depending on the race and their overall superstructure. But it is a varied issue.
Do they have money, currency, gold?
If you take a look at the Shadow Walkers, their currency happens to be what you would literally call blood money. Well, Shadow Walkers are, by human standards, vampires. So when we talk about them having blood money, we really mean they're having blood money. That's their entire currency base. Some of these societies do not have currency at all. because of the fact that they just don't require it. Okay, most of the interstellar races have moved to digital currency, but understand they are not using a binary system.
So what you're saying is, if you have an American Express or Visa or MasterCard, you could use that on other planets.
Technically, the answer would be yes, if you could actually get an interface. Of course, that would indicate that they actually have I mean, having a credit card, or if you will, there are such things. Are they Terran compatible? No. See, the computer system on Earth, as compared to the computer system in the off-worlders, is kind of like comparing the computer system of ancient Egypt with the modern day. You know, the computer system of ancient Egypt used the abacus.
Right.
Try plugging an abacus into a modern-day computer and see how well that works.
All right, moving on. Question coming in from Florida, from Steph. Are the Greys workers for the reptilians?
No. No, I mean, some of them work with them, but absolutely they are not employed by the reptilians. Although the Drakes would love it if they would work for them. Of course, the Drakes would like it if everybody worked for them.
Robert wants to know if aliens eat breakfast for dinner. Really, Robert? Really? Come on. So it's bad enough that most of our guests eat breakfast for dinner. Most of our audience like a good breakfast for dinner. It's like being on a land of your own. It's a lonely world out there for us non-breakfast for dinner people.
See, in answer to that question, all you got to realize is the meaning of the word breakfast. Break fast. The first meal of the day does not have a specific type of food. Not in most cases. Some races have a very definitive and very regimented diet because they have to. Right, but on the whole, I mean, we're talking a pretty broad question. And yeah, some of them will eat what you call breakfast for dinner. Some of them don't eat their breakfast until 14 hours after they get up. And some of them only eat breakfast once a month. Of course, in all fairness, those same people don't only eat once a month.
Let's sneak in one more question here. Aaron is asking, so are angels above aliens in the pecking order?
No, angels are simply another race. The angels
controversial.
Actually Angelics. They are, simply put, another race. See, the funny thing with the consortium is no race is above another.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
They don't see one race above another. They don't see one species above another. They don't see themselves as better than humans. They've just got better toys.
Who doesn't like good toys? You know who doesn't? The Twitter crowd on my side. They don't like good toys. Nope. Not going there. Anyways, Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. All right?
Absolutely.
Because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to take all of your questions and get Keith to answer, because that's kind of what we do around here. Makes it a lot of fun, you know, as we go down the Woo train. I think we've officially hit, you know, maybe fifth gear in the 10-year Woo train tonight. Let's go for 6, 7, and 8 when we come back on Spaced Out Radio. All right, man, I'm just going to take my dogs outside. I'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Of something strange that can't be explained. Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent, and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi. This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Tried and Tried Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Tried Charities, just go to triedcharities.org/donate.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on...
I'm back, buddy.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm going to... 2 things. Number 1, I talked to my other half. I actually gave her the link to the show. Right now, she's just watching. She hasn't said anything in it. But she did say, as far as using her first name, that's not a big problem.
Oh, we get to meet her indirectly.
Indirectly. The other issue is I'm going to deal with something here. I was just going back through some of the notes, and I figure I might just as well punch a hole in something here before it gets out of hand. Not that I really have to, but I'm quite fine with it. It literally is dealing with Anthony Fisher being rather skeptical about what I'm talking about.
Well, I got other questions. We got a minute here, so
handle the order.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. No. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats tonight. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Alaska's greatest athlete, Ladybug, DB Cooper, Worsley, Lord of Land, Manitoba Becky, the gorgeous one. We really appreciate it. It's a great way to support this show. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. We got new shirts coming very soon. Here we go, everyone, with hour number 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Want to remind you that you could listen to us on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL Digital Radio as well. You can also check out our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Zenzi Zenzi Zenzik. Zenzi Zenzi Zenzik is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR News Wire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. We do it near the beginning of each month here on Spaced Out Radio. You can follow Keith on Twitter at R Keith Andrews. And we're talking extraterrestrials, taking questions from the audience. Keith, welcome back.
And thank you for having me. And welcome back to anybody just joining us.
I swear I can't breathe out of my nose tonight, Keith. I think I'm going to have to get it fixed again. Not happy about that.
Well, can't you just get your wife to open the door in a hurry?
Oh, no. My son, him and I were wrestling about a month and a half ago, and his heel met my nose accidentally.
Also known as ow.
Yeah, and it broke.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to Human Carl's question to kick things off. He is asking, do aliens own property?
Depends on the aliens and the planet they're working that they're on. Some, the answer is yes. Like, for instance, if you go to Mobius, the answer is definitively yes. But it's not the way people have it here. I mean, they own it, yes. But they've got a different understanding of what ownership is. See, the problem we're having here is people are asking questions about, well, I'm dealing with, I can give you definitives on 90 different races plus the layout of the consortium itself. So you're looking at, at like 91 different configurations, and they are as varied as it sounds. Touchdown?
No, just Science Bob showing up in the chat room.
Ah!
All right, let's move on here. Prairie Fire wants to know, do aliens have elections like we do here on this planet?
The answer there is definitively yes, in some cases. The consortium itself absolutely does. Although they do not have the fiasco that Terran elections go through, they're not even conceived of. See, with a consortium election, you will only ever have for the Council of 12. There is only ever one member of any given race on that council, and clearly, with only 12 members, you do not have every race as a member. Plus, of course, if they're asked to step down, they can either step down. Like if you take a look at the Swazian Parliament, if you're asked to step down and you refuse, they'll simply kill you on the doorstep. That'll just be the end of it. But they don't take a demotion. They don't take stepping down out of office as an insult. They just take it as, okay, we're not doing the job you want us to do, so we'll go do something else that we want to do.
Makes sense. Let's move on here. Corrance wants to know, do aliens celebrate holidays like Christmas?
Some do. Not always by the same name, and certainly not always on the same day, but essentially correct.
All right, moving on. Catalina wants to know, when are the motherships going to decloak in daylight in North America?
I'd lay odds in about 200 years. I mean, I'm not the one that dictates it, but here's the problem. The moment they do that, the entire superstructure of society as you know it collapses. Okay, mankind has enough trouble with the idea of people of a different skin color, never mind a different skeletal configuration. And the religious community has done its level best to keep aliens as an external part of everything. The moment you bring that in, you're going to throw society into one heck of a tailspin. Which could be entertaining to watch, but no fun to live in.
Very true. Moving on here, my friend. Eric with a K wants to know, we should make note of it, that we are Eric with a K's fourth favorite show about this subject. Fourth favorite show. He's wondering, is there anything, Keith, you do not know about the aliens yet that you would like to know?
There's a staggering amount of that. Not the least of which is how to activate the triphasic transtemporal reconfiguration that they pull off for instantaneous relocation across the galaxy. That'd be a riot. That probably didn't sound like anything more than Swahili, but what the heck?
Well, let's move on to Sean's question. Are all members of the consortium from the Milky Way?
No. The consortium actually reaches a whole lot further than the Milky Way. And that's sort of one of those questions that there is only a short answer to. I mean, let's take, for instance, the fact that the Andromedans are from the Andromedan galaxy. Well, actually, in all fairness, I don't know if Andromeda itself is in the Milky Way. I mean, the Andromedan galaxy is a different galaxy, but astrophysics is not my strong suit. Quite frankly, neither is physics. But considering the fact that some of them travel through 2 wormholes to get here, I don't think that two extensive wormholes. And I do know that the Swazians themselves are definitively not from the Milky Way. So no, it's not. This is not a local hub, if you will.
Okay. All right, let us move on here. And Aaron wants to know, do aliens take our animals to eat them?
Some do. The Moldocs will quite readily settle for a cow once in a while, but they don't take only parts. The Moldocs, if they're going to take an animal, they take the whole thing. Just to give people an idea what a Muldock is, go watch the movie The Predator, and you'll see a perfect rendition of the Muldocks.
All right, we can move on. Steph wants to know, do all the aliens get along with each other?
Lord, no. The Teklex and the Srzosians are in an ongoing battle. They've been in a war for centuries. You know, there are a number of them that just don't get along. You know, the Korlocks, they get along with most people. They just don't take them to their ships. Like, they will visit other people on their ships, but they never take their friends over to theirs. But no, just like humans, not everyone of any given race gets along with another one, with the members of the same race. Right? I mean, if you take a look at the Udina, the Udina are a difficult race to understand most of the time. The Drakes don't get along with. Well, the Drakes feel they're better than everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, they're better than you. Which doesn't go over well with most races.
All right, let's move on. Robert wants to know, are aliens living among us here on Earth right now?
Yes. And before anybody goes there, no, I'm not about to go around and point out who is and who isn't.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. All right, I am way behind in the chat room right now because this chat room is flying tonight, my friend. Flying.
That's why I leave it to you to figure out where the questions are coming from.
Eric with a K is asking, are humans working with aliens on the dark side of the moon right now?
Yes. Well, I don't know about this specific moment, but since they don't transfer it that quick, I'd be inclined to say, yeah, they definitely have interaction up there.
Following up with Eric, because, you know, we are his fourth favorite show, he is asking, what alien race is most likely to disclose itself first?
That'd be humans. See, the off-worlders that come here know full well, the moment they say, I'm an alien from another world, some genius is going to shoot at them and ask them if they're friendly. Or they're going to lock them up in the lab and try and dissect them and try and see if they're nice people. You know, humans aren't exactly known to be tolerant of other races. You know, the ones that I'd be cautious of is if the Teklex decide to reveal themselves and go, yeah, we're here. Because if they show up and they're here, they're coming in for a massive raiding party and they're looking for dinner. Which, by the way, they do not discriminate on who has what for a bank account.
Steph wants to know, do you believe a treaty was made after World War II with the Greys that they could take humans to experiment on in exchange for technology?
Ultimately,
I love this question. I really do.
Yeah, but this one has a funny answer to it. The answer is, was there an agreement made? The answer is yes. It was a research coalition between the humans, the Greys, and the Srzosians. And then the humans went and did exactly what they said they wouldn't do. See, the idea was the Greys would come down with the Srzosians and work on Earth in concealed areas, whereby humans would be collected and the DNA would be taken in order to work through and in order to improve mankind's health. You know, to help mankind heal, to help mankind deal more effectively with the different stresses of space travel, and in some cases the stresses of time travel. But mankind was supposed to take that medical information and release it to the people. The governments didn't do that. the government started pushing for military weaponry and what have you, and the off-worlders just wouldn't give it to them. So, were there treaties made? Yes, and they were made with multiple different national governments. Unfortunately, most of the contract got broken, which is why they turned to the corporations to try and get the information out, and then that turned out to be a bad idea too. So now they're turning to the individuals.
Lord Ward is asking, do aliens have a sense of humor?
Well, yeah, sometimes it's a little sick and twisted. I mean, the Techlics have this funny idea. It's really comical to see how long a body will hang on the wall if you hit it against the wall hard enough. But they're not exactly known for being the most congenial people. But they do have their own sense of humor.
Like how?
Well, for instance, they will find they find a lot of what mankind does as comical as all get out. Not the least of which is the way that elections are held here. They're absolutely, from their standpoint, they're a total waste of time because they don't accomplish anything. You know, from the off-world standpoint. But I mean, when you're starting to talk about the different jokes, I mean, take a look at the different nationalities on Earth. People will say something in Canada and find it funnier than hell, and the people in the States either won't get it or they won't find it funny.
True.
You know, it's the same problem.
All right, let's get over to Mark's question coming from Australia. And he is asking, Keith, does their technology resemble anything close to our technology?
Technically, the answer would be yes. And from a resemblance standpoint, is it compatible with Terran technology? Very little of it. Okay, I mean, you take a look at some of their weaponry. Like, for instance, you take a look at the melee weapons. Strazazian melee weapons look very much like medieval ones, just a lot bigger. Okay, if you're taking a look at their guns, guns are guns. The difference is humans use solid projectiles. Some races use atmospheric projectiles, and some use hydroponic projectiles. And then, of course, you've got your plasma weapons. But do they look similar? Absolutely. And is the principle behind them, as in point and push a button or point and pull a trigger, the same? The answer is yeah. You know, but when you're starting to deal with some of the races, you know, you take a spear, for instance. A spear looks like a spear. But there is one race in particular, you take a look at the Mantis race. They use spears, but their spears are one use only because they detonate on impact. You know, so I mean, they're a lot more volatile. Like most of the off-world weapons, that's one of the things they find funny. What mankind calls war, they look at it and go, "That looks more like a kindergarten argument."
Let's move on here. Nikki down in Washington State is asking, what do those who live on Zeta Reticuli look like?
If we're talking about the grays, you know, short little people, really big eyes, designed for walking around in real low light, right? Or you get the gangly ones, they're a little taller. Those ones actually move through the treetops. The scientists tend to move through the ground. You know, and, you know, I mean, that's basically Zeta Reticuli is your gray homeworld. So they come in multiple different colors, minor skeletal configuration changes. For instance, in one race, they've got, a thicker eye ridge. That sort of thing.
Lord Ward wants to know, how do you collect all of your information?
Firsthand. In other words, I've dealt with these people and talked to them. One of the advantages of having been dealing with them for this long and not seeing a difference between them and humans aside from skeletal configuration. They're still people.
Are they people, though?
In my eyes, yes. But let us understand, in my eyes, your cat, your dog, the octopus in the ocean, the pine tree down the road are all people. Even the stone is a people. They're just different. They all have a voice. They've all got stories to tell. You just have to learn how to listen to them. Or more to the point, remember how to listen to them.
All right, Larry is asking, are the Anunnaki of Sumerian writings a real rave? Did they genetically engineer mankind, or are we hybrids with other races?
Number one, are the Anunnaki a real race? The answer is yes. Did they engineer mankind? No. Did they interact with mankind? Yes. Humans themselves are actually a race unto themselves, although they were accelerated from a Terran animal. And it wasn't actually off-worlders that accelerated them, but it was a different race that accelerated them.
All right, let's move on. We got a ton of questions here. I am so behind, Keith. So behind. Troy is asking, what is the average age of the aliens you have met, and how long do they live using our interpretation of a year? Good question, Troy.
I like it. The average age, I have no way of telling you. Because some of them live only a nanosecond and others live literally hundreds of thousands of years. Laborians, for instance, live an average of about 350,000 human years. Okay, Swazians just plain don't die, nor do Drakes. I mean, they die if you kill them, but they don't die of old age. Many of the reptilian races just don't. The bigger reptilian races anyway. If you take a look at the more humanoid style races, if you will, the original Alphid race, which is not an off-worlder, it's actually an ancient race, does not die, period, of old age. But the descendants of them do. And they'll live about, on average, they usually live, if they live to old age, they'll make about, the newer ones live an average of about 2,000 years. Right, 2,000 years to them is kind of like a human living to 100.
All right, bud, we got time to squeeze in one more. We got about 35 seconds here. And Shar wants to know, can aliens cloak or is it mind control?
The answer to that is it depends on which race. Some of them use cloaking technology. Like the Molochs use cloaking technology. Some of them literally can phase out of existence right in front of you, so they just drop out of sight. And some use mind control.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, bud, because we
Absolutely.
are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. We do it near the beginning of each month where Keith comes in and breaks down, takes your questions on what it's like to be an ET contactee and the knowledge he has gained from talking with them aliens. It's always about the aliens here as we turn up the woo on Spaced Out Radio.
Lined up back to back, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's packed here. Like I think I'm about right now 15, 18 minutes behind on questions.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, we're going through them and we're giving as solid an answer as we can. We know you're pressed for time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I like it that way, personally. Yeah, sad to say I had absolutely no calls tonight.
I tried my Vicks Vapo inhaler just to see if I could get some air flowing through my nose.
Yeah.
Barely worked. But then again, that thing's almost empty. I got to get a new one.
Well, the reality is it wasn't designed to handle broken noses.
No, but it can clear nasal passages, so I can at least feel oxygen running through it. Well, maybe it opened a little bit.
I get a kick out of this. Troy in YouTube.
Yeah.
He simply made a comment. He goes, they're talking about me, and it's like he's a very good friend of the show, and he is is untouchable. And I'm thinking, no, I could do something to have you get very unhappy very quickly.
Hold on. Where is it?
I don't know. It's Troy SR71.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Oh yeah, no, he was. This was in response to Anthony. Anthony's the one that questions whether or not my information is sound, whether or not he should believe it, etc.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, okay? And I will say this because I'm actually quite defensive of Keith. So, Keith, you just sit back and I'll kind of handle this. All right? Whether or not you want to believe Keith is your choice. Completely your choice. But remember this, guys and gals. All right? Very few of you have met him. Very few have got to know him. Very few have dealt with him on a personal level. And I will say this, whether you want to believe him or not, Keith is one of the greatest and nicest people in this field. All right. Sure, at times he can sound like a know-it-all or a lot of his answers seem very far-fetched. He just goes with the information that he has been given, much like all of us do in this field, because there are no answers. So just because his answers sound way more woo than, say, a Science Bob or any other great people that we've had on this show, doesn't mean that scientists are right or that Keith is wrong, or Keith is right and the scientists are wrong. We don't have any proof on anything. So my suggestion is, because Keith, sounds a little bit more far out there, and he understands his role with this. It's not an act. Nothing is pre-scripted. He doesn't know what questions you guys are firing at him. All right? Just relax and enjoy the woo. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And I've told Keith lots of times we have disagreed on things. He's said things on the air that I don't believe, and I've said things on the air that he doesn't believe. But I can tell you this, he's a good dude. He's a very good dude. And just remember, in the comments, guys, and this goes for all of us, myself included, at the other end, there is a human being there. There is a human being. So whether you want to believe is completely your choice. And we're all here together. We're all here having fun. And Keith is an amazing human being. And as long as I'm doing a show and Keith wants to do this show, he will be here the first Friday of every month, because he's a completely awesome dude. And I love the guy. And it's my pleasure to be able to call him a friend. Really. It really is my pleasure to call him a friend. Thank you to Science Bob for the super chat. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, you're amazing. Aussie Rob, how's tomorrow looking? I'm still waiting for my picture of the Ham Hawks, but thank you for the super chat. Ladybug, DB Cooper, Worsley, Lord of Land, and Manitoba Becky, we appreciate the support as well. Here we go, guys. We're going to kick it off right here. Welcome back to the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I'm Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We got the Woo Train in full speed right now. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the ET Connection and R Keith Andrews. Your questions, please put them in capital letters if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Keith, we're going to go right to Lord Ward's question here. And he is asking, can aliens move the moon sideways?
Well, technically there is a race that could. They've just got no interest in it, considering the fact that nobody wants to wipe out the Earth. And if you move the moon anywhere, you're going to completely turn the database on Earth into a cesspool. I mean, there are races out there that can do it, yes. They just won't.
How come?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, Earth has a phenomenal database. It's kind of along the lines of the Library of Alexandria in ancient Greece. Right? It's a database nobody wants to destroy. And the moment you move the moon, you're going to throw the entire superstructure of Earth out of sync with itself. Net result, that database will end. And besides that, mankind has been delegated as caretakers of the planet. Well, if you move the moon, mankind gets wiped out. So even for the races that would like to use Earth as a hunting ground, they won't do it because no point in wiping out the planet that you're trying to hunt on.
Jenny is asking, is the moon a real rock, or is it put there by the aliens?
Oddly enough, the moon itself was an accidental arrival. But it is a real rock. It was an accidental arrival that got shifted into alignment to help balance Earth at the time. But it originally wasn't built here. It came from elsewhere. Before you go there, I have no idea.
All right. Moving on, as we got to try and catch up here. Lord Ward is asking, can aliens sneak into hospitals and heal people?
Can, yes. Do, very seldom. See, the aliens tried to give mankind the healing techniques to be able to do it themselves. Only mankind decided that it would make them more money if they hung on to the answers. And since mankind chose to do that, the off-worlders look at it and go, well, if you want to suffer, you're welcome to it. Besides that, the off-worlders have a very strict issue of freedom of choice. Meaning, if mankind wants to suffer, they're welcome to it. But as far as do they heal the occasional person, certainly.
All right, let's move on. Big J wants to know, does the different species of extraterrestrials on the moon look like the bar scene at Star Wars?
Kind of similar, yeah, just different races. Like many of the races that were of the mainstream races on Star Wars were accurate. That bar scene, not all of them were races that I've been privy to seeing. Doesn't mean they aren't real, but because Lucas is one of the few that does know what's going on.
G-Girl wants to know, what do aliens feel about angels?
Well, it depends on the angel and the alien. See, the Andronis race is another race altogether. Most off-worlders do not see the Andronis as anything super special. Because the Andronis are not the only race that flies. Okay, they're also not the only race that heals by touch. They are simply, to most off-worlders, they are simply another race. As the saying goes, some of the off-worlders think they're a little flighty, but on the whole, it's just another race, another person. They base people on an individual level, not on the whole. On the whole, the off-worlders do not look at one race in any group fashion.
Okay. Robert wants to know, is physical sex now obsolete to aliens?
No. Just talk to the Orions.
Them dirty Orions.
Daemons.
Such whores they are.
Pretty much. I mean, with the Daemons, you gotta understand, from their standpoint, hey, if it's breathing, it's fair game. You know, and they're not even overly worried about whether it's consensual, but they aren't exactly, by human standards, shall we say, cooperative or socially adept.
All right, let's move on. As we continue on, Lord Ward wants to know, how many races do you know of? Not the ones you've dealt with personally, but know of.
Rough count, I've been told that there's as many as 2,500 different races in the consortium. In my opinion, it may well be higher than that, but that's the only number that's the biggest number I've been dealt with.
That's a lot of aliens.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the idea that Earth that mankind is alone is such a foreign concept to me. You know, it's like, no. But yeah, I've heard tell of as many as 2,500 different ones, and not all of them are bipedal.
No?
No. Well, you take a look at the Korlocks. The reason the Korlocks will never take somebody on their ships is because, well, you've seen Space Odyssey 2001 or 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yep.
That rectangular ship is a ship. It is powered by the Korlocks' actual biorhythms. See, the Korlocks are amoebic. They do not have a physical form. So they go inside the ship, and it's literally their bioenergy that makes all the connections to get the ship to work. You can see why they wouldn't take a human on board.
Let's move on. R Keith Andrews, here on Spaced Out Radio, the ET Connection. Paul is asking, do the aliens and our government have an agreement that allows them to harvest humans for experimental purposes, and are they doing it through missing people who go missing in places like the national forests?
The answer would be some of it, but the aliens are not the only people making people disappear. You know, off-worlders are not the only ones responsible for disappearing people. Most of the time when a person is taken by a human, or when a person is taken by an off-worlder, the person is returned with most of their stuff in place, minus a little bit of blood or a little bit of skin sample sort of thing. Right, there are a couple of races that will take the whole body and just plain not return it, but it's not like there's a quota of people that can go missing.
Okay. Corrins, the booking guy, is asking, Are there any alien races who are judging humanity for our foolishness? Is humanity in danger of being deemed unworthy to continue to exist?
No, they are not in danger of that at all. Now, there are some races that see humans as very, very immature, very unruly. And they certainly have their opinions that mankind should not be brought into the consortium yet. But none of them are looking at it as though mankind is not worthy to exist and should be eradicated.
Well, that's nice, that we deserve to survive.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this, Keith. Okay, you've dealt with a lot of aliens, and you said earlier in the last half hour, due to a great question from our audience, about the age of aliens. There are species out there that live for hundreds, if not thousands, tens of thousands of years. What do they think of us getting ripped off with an average of 80 years?
And then we have a short lifespan.
I know, it sucks. It sucks.
Well, in all fairness, they look at it from the standpoint of, okay, you've got an average of about 80 Terran cycles. So quit fighting with each other and start enjoying life, working together, and see what you can actually do. Is their basic rule. It's like, okay, guys, you've only got 80 years. If you had 10,000 years to goof around, by all means, have yourself a war or two.
Okay, but how do they age? At 10,000 years, how do they age? Is it much like a human? But by the time they hit that 10,000 average, that they're old, frail, maybe in a hoverboard wheelchair sort of thing?
Well, when you're dealing with the races that live that long, more often than not, what they do is they get to that age and go, I'm bored, I want to try a different form. So they trash their car, basically is what it boils down to. See, the corporeal body that people operate is a vehicle. Okay, the soul is the basic core that operates that vehicle. And when you pick a vehicle that will last for 10,000 years, sometimes they just get bored and go, I want to go try something else. Right. Yeah, I mean, and it's way beyond human ken for most people to fathom the idea of going, I'm bored, I'm going to die. Because humans have been taught to fear death. And death is actually not that scary. It's funnier than heck when you get over there, but that's a whole different story. But no, they look at mankind from the standpoint of, okay, you guys know you've got a short lifespan, right? So why not do something a little bit more with it? And the reason for their thinking that is because mankind talks about what they want to do. At least with the Muldogs. The Muldogs only live an average of 35 to 50 years. Right? But the Muldogs are a combat race. And they don't aspire to build great great works of art. They don't aspire to leave a mark in the world. They aspire to live fast, die young, and leave one heck of a mess on the way out.
Sounds like Vikings.
In a lot of ways, yes. Like the Nordics had the same sort of an idea.
All right.
The Muldogs are just better at it.
Let's move on here. R Keith Andrews is with us. Prairie Fire is wondering, do alien races interracially mix?
Some. But there is literally a compatibility factor. Like you will never find a fire elemental intermixed with anybody but a fire elemental. Primarily because they literally will cook their partner. I mean, it boils down to physical configuration. Some will intermix, saying because they can. There's no rule that says they can't intermix. It's more an issue of, physiologically speaking, whether it's feasible.
Okay. All right, let's move on here as we continue on. Catalina is asking, Which aliens on Earth are making these human clones?
That's the funny part. Aliens don't make human clones. Humans make human clones. Aliens take humans and make hybrids by taking the genes, the ova, the sperm, and splicing it with other races. But they want genetically fresh material. They don't want clones to work with. Yeah, I know that wasn't quite what they were looking for, but what the heck.
All right.
Well,
let's move on here. Great Lakes is asking, what role do the Pleiadians play in interacting with humankind?
They are absolutely neutral healers. Anybody gets wounded, they will help them. But because of what mankind has done, what the governments have done, the Pleiadians do not just categorically come down and clean up the messes that mankind makes. And like, you'll never see a purebred Pleiadian on Earth. Okay, and the reason for that is Earth's atmosphere will literally kill them. But they are your intergalactic Red Cross, if you will.
Okay. Robert is asking, is Elon Musk an alien? No, he's American, Canadian, and South African. That's kind of cool. Spreads the wealth around. We all get to claim them. All right. Let's see here. Next question. Nikki wants to know, what does the Offworlders think of the Jinn?
They're actually a nice group. The Jinn are a little squirrely on occasion, but they're actually decent people. And again, where it comes to the Offworlders and the Jinn are just another race. You know, so you get a mixed bag of what they think. Some Jinn are really congenial individuals, are really nice to talk to. Others are so full of themselves you really don't want to bother giving them the time of day.
All right, let's move on. Sean is asking, what's going on when space looks yellow? Why does that happen?
That is because with what mankind has done to Earth's atmosphere and the magnetic field, what happens is we're getting a different light filtration that comes through the atmosphere for mankind to see. It's the same reason that the sky usually looks blue. It's because of the way that it interacts with the atmosphere. But basically, you're talking about a photonic misalignment, or altered alignment, if you will.
All right, let's move on. And Robert is asking, is it true that aliens have deactivated nuclear weapons?
Absolutely. They did it once that I'm aware of. Okay. And that was back, I think it was 1986, when the United States really the world went to it. And they were on the verge of a full-scale global nuclear war. The Offworlders stepped in and unilaterally shut down every one of the nuclear missile heads. Because that much nuclear interaction on the planet would have destroyed life on the planet. And they want the database left intact. You know, if somebody wants to drop a nuke on each other, it wipes out a number of humans, it wipes out the local area. But it doesn't do any damage to the entire global state. So from that standpoint, are they likely, if mankind decides to try another nuclear war, they will probably shut it down. However, if mankind decides to use one of the other weapons they already have in production, which is a whole lot cleaner than a nuclear bomb, the off-worlders probably won't say too much about it because the fallout isn't there.
All right, Keith, we got 4 minutes before we got to go to break. At the top of the hour, R Keith Andrews is our guest. Larry is asking, did the reptilian aliens interfere with any, or have they interfered with any electoral process on this planet?
Negative. That's just categorical. They just don't bother. The screw-ups on the electoral process on this planet have been done solely by humans.
Makes sense. I'm going to cut that there because I don't want to get into a big political thing. We're not doing that. Philip is asking, can I come into the consortium? I'm very strange and an atypical human.
Sad to say, I'm not the one that makes that decision. You know? But it is a cute thought.
Well, you know, at least he's honest. That's the main thing. That's got to give him some credit there. All right.
That's a big thing.
For sure. Chris Mo, hey, good evening, is asking, is there any alien race loving coffee like I do?
Well, I do know that the Crotons do, but they're a Terran race. Crotons, by the way, are a plant. We had one in our house, and boy, did it ever get agitated when it found out we had coffee and weren't giving it to it. But that's actually a house plant. I mean, they grow in the wild as well, but it's not an alien plant. It's one from here. But there are other races that some, I mean, coffee, like here, is independent, is individual preference. You know, but they do have other versions of hot drinks based on the same concept.
Fast Hemi wants to know, are some aliens humans from the future?
No. There are aliens that are humans. The Mobians are actually human. The Mobians originated on Earth and then moved to Mobius. But no, like we said earlier, there is no reverse time travel. You don't go back in time, so therefore it doesn't happen.
Okay, let's squeeze one more in here. I think we got time. And Minister Elaine is asking, how long have humans then been making human clones?
That I'm aware of?
Yeah.
About 60 years. Wait a minute, hold on. We're in 2020 now, so actually closer to 80.
That was too quick of an answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, we'll sneak in one more because we got about 1 minute here. Sean is asking, or no, let's go to Larry. No, let's go to Nikki because those are just comments that were made with question in capital letters. Nikki is asking, what would the off-worlders do if there was a third world war on Earth?
If it's not nuclear based, they'd probably sit back and watch it happen and take notes. If it's nuclear based, they'll probably shut the nuclear bomb, the nuclear warheads down, and sit back and take notes. You know, because, I mean, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you talk to, Terran wars, according to the off-worlders, are not wars, and they're not worthy of stepping in on.
That makes sense.
Mankind would not like a war with them.
On that note, Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're at the top of the hour, which means we are going to go for a break. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. We got R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continuing for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. And then on the back end of hour 3, we will get to Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, buddy. I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back.
Okie doke.
Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightline Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website, and let's figure out what's going on together.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're at
All right, Keith. I'm back.
Hey, Dave. Aaron asked a question. I know you're doing questions. There's one that he asked about whether or not I had said why I was able to retain my knowledge. That I should probably answer for him because, like he said, he arrived late.
Oh.
Or what?
Oh, just listening.
Oh, okay.
Your hair looks great tonight.
Thanks.
No problem. I'm stopped in the chat room So thank goodness I got 2 of them going so I can actually read what's going on up to date here. But I'm back on the main questions here.
Yeah.
Gilberto, you're next. Your question's next. And by the way, thanks for being a new follower to our chat room. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, my friend. We'd appreciate it. We got just over a minute, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was dealing with Kira earlier, I told her flat out, yeah, I got no problem removing the beard and mustache. The sideburns are staying. That just goes hand in hand.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. No, and she goes, no, that's fine. So, I mean, it works out well from my end.
All right, 30 seconds. Thank you to everybody who participated in our super chat tonight. It is still open. We appreciate all the love and support that all of you have given us tonight, as you do each and every night here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to be back here in about 15 seconds, so hold tight.
Okay.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL Digital. And don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Zenzi Zenik. Zenzi Zenik is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the final segment with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Keith, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Brand new,
the newcomers.
Brand new listener to this show, Gilberto, who is asking, says, "Hi, I'm new. Love the show. Can Keith describe the aliens' culture that are like the Predator movie?"
That, quite frankly, the answer is yes. Those people are, the Predator movie does actually show a very beautiful picture of them. And they are very militaristic. They are extremely volatile, but they are professional hunters. They will not bother with unarmed people because, as they put it, there's no challenge to taking out somebody that isn't armed. Now, of course, the one variation there is if the unarmed individual has some viable combat skill. But they are very much a militaristic race. They prize combat prowess above everything else. You know, they do not worry about their artwork, that sort of thing. So you won't see great big artistic looking towers and what have you. What you'll see is very low cut buildings and armor to the walls. Most of their buildings are actually double hulled, so that if you're firing into them, they've got that extra ballistic defense mechanism. You know, overall, but they are taught right from birth to fight. You know, when you're talking about fighting for like humans joke around about fighting for the last scrap. Muldocs, after they're a year old, they literally fight for their food. You know, but they are, and their whole justice system is simple. I mean, their justice system is pretty cut and dried, but if you break it, you go on work crew. Second offense, they will throw you out of the military, which there is nothing more dishonorable than getting thrown out of the Moldakian military. You know, you gotta be pretty off kilter. You break a third law, and you will be terminated via hunt. In other words, you're given no weapons, and you're cut loose and told everybody's out to kill you. You know, that's pretty much the way they go. It might give you an idea when you think, if you've ever seen the ships in the air, like on Earth here, that look like an old Roman Colosseum, that's a Moldakian ship. But the Moldaks have been here for, well, quite frankly, since way before man was. But that's a very Reader's Digest version of it. But when we talk, they're a military base, which means it doesn't matter to them whether it's a male or a female. Males and females are treated exactly the same way. See, males tend to be heavier set. The females tend to be more agile. Either one of which you don't want to tangle with.
All right, moving on. Raul wants to know, are human super soldiers built with alien DNA?
It wouldn't surprise me. Might surprise them, but most of the so-called human super soldiers are modified humans, as in they are enhanced via Terran technology. See, the second that mankind tries to start using and they have tried using off-world DNA. Problem is that mankind hasn't got the process down. So 99% of the time, the moment you add human DNA or add alien DNA to a human without the hybridization expertise of the off-worlders, 9 times out of 10 the thing dies on the spot. But most of the human super soldiers are done by enhancing the way that the human system interacts with itself. But no, on the whole, as far as I understand it, they don't use off-world DNA at all. You know, they do use some of the techniques to try and enhance human DNA, for instance, the reaction time, the cellular elasticity, that sort of thing.
All right, let's move on. Pharmacy is asking, have we ever tried to have a nuclear war on Earth and they prevented it?
1986. And the answer is yeah. They will not permit a global nuclear war. Nuclear power regarding energy and what have you is a natural stepping stone to fusion. Right, which is why they didn't stop the nuclear age, because it's a necessary step in order to get to the real power lines. But yeah, the nuclear war, they won't let happen.
All right, let's continue on. As we continue here on Spaced Out Radio with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection, Nathan is asking, do any off-worlders collect any specific goods from us, like art, foods, cultural things that only exist here?
Oh, there are definitely some people, like every race, there are different humans around that collect different curios and what have you, or collect different things. There are collectors in every off-world race. I mean, I know of one chap in particular that collects musical instruments from across the cosmos. You know, some of their instruments are a little screwy, but what the heck? I mean, I can't play the ones we got here, so playing the ones they got are another issue altogether. I mean, you want to see a drum set from hell, take a look at an Odina drum set. The Odina, by the way, have 8 functional limbs. Now, there's a drum set that you're going to have trouble keeping up with.
All right, let's move on. Spaced Out Radio here. Nikki is asking, who are the original off-worlders which first landed on Earth before humans?
Whoa, try that again.
Who are the original off-worlders that first landed on Earth before humans were here?
Well, the Muldocs were the first ones that got here before the humans did, but the Muldocs weren't the first race here. The Elfid race is an ancient race that got here, and they came here as a residency, if you will, as an option to experience physical growth for the spirit folk. Like when we talk about the soul being the root of a human, like the operating system for a human, it was the Elfid race that actually built the humans. But the Elfid race was built by another race that simply wanted bodies that they could operate in. But the Muldocs, to the best of my knowledge, were the first non-human race of a sentient nature to really take dominant control.
All right. Continuing on here. Correns is asking, did the Moldokians create humans?
No. The Elfid race did. The Moldokians just found that humans were rather conveniently advanced where it came to creative hunting. It made them more and more of an intriguing challenge, especially as the weapons got better.
Moving on. Jules is asking, do people with Rh negative blood have alien DNA?
You might have some that do, but the reality is Rh negative blood is no more important to the off-worlders than A positive or B negative. It all depends on what the experiment is or the research that they're doing as to whether they go after Rh negative blood. You know, it's kind of like if you're from their standpoint, if you're trying to do a test on blonde people, you take people that have blonde hair. You don't take people that have brown hair. That's the only reason for the blood. Of course, if you talk to the Shadow Walkers, quite frankly, that's personal taste. Personal taste as to which one tastes better.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of speculation around Rh negative being something bizarre.
Have you talked to any alien species on who's flying the Tic Tac that was seen in the military videos?
Quite frankly, the answer is yes, and I'll have to go back through my notes because, quite frankly, I know which one you're talking about, and I actually sketched it out. I was going to put it into I was actually going to add it back in. Let's just see if I can find the dang thing. This is one of the reasons why I've been putting the information on books, because the reality is there's way too many of them, and my memory has never been fantastic. But I know the one you're talking about. And no, it is not flown by Mark.
Perfect.
You remember who Mork is, I trust.
Mork from Mork, of course.
Yes. And I believe the chap was Jonathan Winters, but I do believe that digresses.
Yes, he was Mirth.
Yes.
Good old mirth. Aging backwards.
Yes. You do realize this is aging us, right? Or dating us, or whatever they call it.
I get you.
But yeah, I mean, the funny part is, and I actually wrote that down somewhere because I've got to add to the original book as I go along. I've been going back through it and adding stuff to it that's got to be enhanced in it. Plus, of course, the other book altogether.
Well, whatever works for you works for me, my friend. And as you're continuing to look for that, let's get to another question. The gorgeous and talented Kira is asking, what races use biological shape-shifting craft?
The Korlocks. The Korlocks are an amoebic race. They do not have a physical form. So they make all of their equipment capable of modifying with them. Primarily because, well, it works. Fortunately, the Korlocks are decent people.
Well, that's nice. Why do you call them people?
Well, I call dogs people. They're just short, fuzzy, and four-legged.
Okay. Let's move on here. Nikki is asking, so the elfin race create humans. Do the elfins have their own planet? If so, what's it called and how far away is it from Earth? Is it in our galaxy?
The elfin homeworld is Earth. They're an ancient race. And that should answer all of the above a little quickly. The elfin race was actually the first race to end up here. And quite frankly, they're still here. They're just not very often on the surface. Once in a while, you'll see a half-elf on the surface. But true elves have found that, see, the elves really went underground a long time ago, but they got the message really quick when mankind decided that witchcraft was a really bad idea. Because the elfin race use what you would consider magic without even thinking about it. You know, so their homeworld is Earth. And no, to the best of my knowledge, they have not colonized any other planet.
Corey is wondering whether or not they live in a different dimension.
No. They live in a different place, in a manner of speaking. They live in what people call Hollow Earth. Now, some of them do know how to move fast enough so as to appear to disappear. They also know how to travel through plants, meaning they can step into a plant. Some of them can step into a plant and vanish. Right, and what they do is they transport to a different plant. Okay. But that's all done. I mean, it's just simply to them, it's just a normal way of getting around.
Right. Makes sense. Makes very good sense. All right, let's move on here on Spaced Out Radio. Uncle R Keith Andrews. G-Girl is asking, and I like this question, are there any crystals that help one communicate with aliens?
Quite frankly, yes. Let's try and do this right. The amethyst helps extremely well. The, amethyst helps very well. The smoky quartz is a great accelerator. You'll also find we've had some success with sodalite, but the best one above all of them is moldavite. That is the best one to work with. And moldavite, by the way, is pricey as all get out and only comes from one location that I'm aware of. and that would be the Czechoslovakian impact zone. But I think, if I recall correctly, it's illegal to actually get that anymore. Czechoslovakian government doesn't like people going in and taking it away.
I'm a Sodalite guy myself. I got Sodalite on my microphone. I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
Don't know if you could see that.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice. I put soda on my computer one day. That was a bad idea.
I keep it on my mic. Keeps me relaxed.
Yeah, I quite often I quite often have a combination of smoky quartz and moldavite in my pocket. Helps me be able to walk.
Yeah. Unless you have a bad case of gout and it's flaring. That's never any good.
Then nothing will help you walk nicely.
No, we only have about just over 3 minutes here with you, Keith, tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Kira is asking, what races come from past the Orion Belt?
Well, that I run into a bit of a problem. I know the Teklak definitely do, and so do the Swazazians. The Orions actually come from the Orion Belt, but not being an astrophysicist, I have a bit of a problem with that. I suspect the Pleiadians, and somebody might want to look up where the Pleiadians are, but because there are races here from the Pleiades, from Sirius. There's a lot of races here from Sirius. And then, of course, when you start looking, like the Moldakians are not from around this neighborhood at all. My problem is I don't know exactly where the Orion Belt itself is, but then I'm not an astrophysicist, much less an astronomer.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Let's see if we can sneak in one or two more questions here. Let's see here. Jules is asking, did bells really chase away the elves and fae?
No, but it's cute. Quite frankly, if you ring bells nicely, what you'll do is draw the woodland fae to you. They like the sound. You know, about the closest thing that a bell ringing is going to do to chase away an elf is if the elf really wants to get at you. They'll take the sound of the bell and go, "Oh, I'm scared," and they'll run away, and then they'll circle back and come in behind you.
Very cool. Very, very cool, my friend. Let's get in another quick question here. Corrins is asking, Keith, do you have any negative effects from traveling such long distance in alien craft? If so, what?
Well, I could say homesickness, but the biggest problem is potassium and calcium crashes. Potassium and protein crashes. And that can be a pain in the neck. But do I have any other than I'm aware of? Not that I know of. I'm wondering if that might be part of why I've survived so many heart attacks.
Could be. Could be. All right, my friend, it's time once again to say goodnight to you. We got about 30 seconds for you to tell everybody where they can find your information.
Well, the easiest place is on YouTube at R Keith Andrews. Or you can drop me a line at innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. Of course, on the YouTube, it'll give you a whole list of ways to get a hold of me. You know, that's the easiest ways. And of course, the information on the races we've been discussing, those you can get the book through me. Excellent show tonight, Dave.
Fantastic show, Keith. Fantastic as per usual, my friend. And it's always a pleasure to have you back on the show. We will do it again next month.
Absolutely. I will make a point of researching that issue. I've made a note for it.
Perfect.
Of who it is that actually is running the Tic Tac show.
All right, Keith, you stick right there. We're coming back with the SOR Newswire, the thought of the day. Stay tuned. Good show, R Keith.
Very good. Thank you very much.
I know you like a good clap every now and again.
I'm going to leave that comment all alone.
Mm-hmm. It's the way we roll. It's the way we roll. Much love to you, buddy.
And you. Don't work too hard tonight, eh?
I'm going to bed here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, in about an hour.
Yeah, probably about that. I'll probably be up for a little longer than that, but what the heck.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I'll have to go get some nasal mist or something tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was lucky my income tax finally started to come in.
Nice. Nice. Very, very nice. All right, brother. I got to go get the news ready here.
Absolutely.
But much love to you and your boys there, and we'll talk to you very soon, okay? You stay.
Absolutely. You take care.
You stay safe and stay good, buddy.
Always.
Much,
You too.
Much love, bro. Take care.
Ciao.
There we go. There we go. Mm-hmm. See, if you guys could actually see, my finger goes in on this nostril. See how far it goes in? And watch this one. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah. My deviated septum is quite broken. We don't need to screenshot that, Corns, you jerk. Don't make me put up your mustache again. Hey, old Corns needs the mustache up, huh? Pharmacy, you bastard. You bastard. You got that right, Dutch. Hey, Dutch, I need more winter blend. I need more winter blend. Alicia. Our time with Keith is up, and I know you're in the Spreaker chat right now. Hello. How are you? You can join us in our YouTube chat as well if you want. I'll pass you the link there. But yes, to your question. Yes, off-worlders do have emotions like us, sad, cry, love, children, romance, you know? So it's all good. We got like 90 seconds, everyone. 90 seconds. Hey, Dutch, I actually, call me tomorrow. Call me tomorrow, Dutch, and because I also have a plan. Okay, I am building a big box of stuff for our music guy Bumblefoot. And I'll explain that. All right, guys, 10 seconds. Yeah, Dutch, call me anytime after 2 p.m. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? Always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the jerks in life. And I'll tell you, this caused a giant ruse, very fast, very large, right across Canada today. And thank goodness the right thing was done, because following widespread criticism, American company Whole Foods, which is owned by Amazon, has changed its policy and will now allow employees to wear poppies while on the job. Canadian Minister of Veterans Affairs confirmed the news in a post on Twitter. Just spoke to the chief operating officer of Whole Foods. Employees will now be able to wear their poppies at work, Lawrence McCauley wrote. The poppy represents those who've served, fought, and died for Canada, and it's deeply personal to everyone here. Glad to hear they are changing course. Now, Whole Foods said this: our new unified dress code policy is intended to create consistency and ensure operational safety across all of our stores, Whole Foods said in a news statement. Our intention was never to single out the poppy or to suggest a lack of support for Remembrance Day and the heroes who have given bravely to serve their country. We appreciate the thoughtful feedback we have received from our customers. Thoughtful? You guys got ripped a new a-hole on social media. People were about to start picketing. That ain't thoughtful. That's you guys being a jerk. And anyways, given the leanings, we are welcoming team members to wear the poppy pin in honor of Remembrance Day. As was previously planned, we will also be observing a moment of silence on November 11th, as well as making a monetary donation to the Legion Poppy Fund. Now, here's where it gets a little sticky. Whole Foods faced a quick backlash after an employee revealed a new dress code policy prevented them from donning the poppy in lead up to Remembrance Day. A new uniform policy went into effect at the grocery store's chain locations November 2nd, according to Business Insider, which reported last month that changes were coming. Whole Foods policy prohibited, among other things, buttons or pins on employee aprons. A person identifying themselves as a Whole Foods employee in Ontario wrote on Reddit that they had put a poppy on their apron on Thursday and was immediately told that they had to take it off because they weren't allowed to wear them. Apparently, this came from the HR person. The reason, and here's where it gets a little sticky. The reason given was something along the lines of, well, if we support this cause, then it opens the door for allowing support, i.e. buttons, pins, for other causes, and we just don't want to go there, so we're saying no to everything, even poppies. Since when is Remembrance Day or Veterans Day a cause? You know what? This is what happens when you get some hipster who is so woke that they literally have no idea that there was a lot of 18, 19-year-olds who had to leave home on ships and never come back because they weren't finding the safe rooms. They were jumping off transport boats onto a beach and almost imminent death. But the hipsters who get these positions in, these fake education parts called HR, and by the way, I'm the HR department of Spaced Out Radio. They're so woke that they want to make sure that no causes or traditions are supported. Yeah, definitely horned-rimmed glasses on that person. Anyways, this happened in BC as well. The Royal Canadian Legion, by the way, issued a statement prior to the grocery chain making its policy and basically said, you know what, they're very thankful to everyone, including Whole Foods, who contributes in various ways to the National Poppy Campaign. While retailers must set their own corporate policies, unless there are safety concerns, we do encourage wearing poppies at all time to show respect for our fallen and as a symbol that helps educate Canadians about the sacrifices of our veterans. Think about this for a second, people. Think about this for a second. Minister of Defense here. He hammered them. Okay? Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole, also a veteran, hammered them. Even little Justin Trudeau, who fumbles and bubbles his way through, called it stupid. And a silly mistake. Silly mistake. And thankfully, Whole Foods listened to the people. Put the pressure on. Because there's a lot of ways that the people, like you and me, can still win. And wear your poppy. Wear your poppy. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. If you're new to the country, if you're not, take time to wear the poppy because your road was paved by a lot of good, innocent people who put their lives on the line for you. So make sure you do that. An Idaho man has been issued a 2-year ban from Yellowstone National Park. Why? He was attempting to roast chickens in a hot spring. Oh, I like this guy. After being alerted to hikers in an off-limits thermal area of the park carrying cooking pots, a park ranger found 2 whole chickens in a hot spring inside a burlap sack. The unidentified man from Idaho, was cited along with 2 others in the group for walking in the thermal area in Mammoth Hot Springs Court. The man pleaded guilty to the citation. He also was charged with violating closures and use limits and was forced to pay $600 per charge, plus 2 years unsupervised probation and 2-year ban from the park. All for trying to cook chickens in the hot spring. You can't make this up, man. You can't make this up. According to the Yellowstone website, the park's hot springs have injured or killed more people in Yellowstone than any other natural feature. The park advises visitors to stay on boardwalks and trails in the thermal areas and to keep your children close and don't let them run. Yellowstone's scenic wonders are sure to take your breath away. Don't let them take your life. Oh, a little bit of danger there. They are hot. They are hot. I believe, they get in that 140, 150 degree range, if not hotter. And don't feed the animals when you're in a park. How do you feel about this? Washington State has become even more evergreen as they passed a law in 2019 allowing people to turn themselves into compost after death. This month, the first officially licensed human composting company has opened its doors to help citizens meet their maker in a more environmentally friendly manner. Recompose, whose founder helped drive the law into existence, is one of a small handful of green death companies licensed in Washington State and the first to offer its services. The company is the first to be certified by the state to break down your body into organic fertilizer. The company's process involves sealing a body into a capsule with plant matter, microbes, then break it all down over the course of about 30 days or so. The end result is a cubic meter of compost, roughly the equivalent of a pickup load in the back of a truck. Which either can be donated to a natural reserve or Washington's Bells Mountain and given back to a family member or a loved one in its entirety. Recompose can provide death care. Come on. Death is already a ripoff for families, right? And now you're going to take advantage of this? Apparently, the U.S. buries an estimated 5.3 million gallons of toxic embalming fluid annually. This gets rid of it. I'm debating about that. I can't eat. You know what? This story is going to send my anxiety through the roof because of my fear of death. Getting rid of that one. I thought I could handle it. I honestly can't. I apologize. Can't do it. This cat would have literally went right by my home. A Washington State's couple's cat went on an incredible journey when he wandered into a shipping container and ended up at a Home Depot store 2,500 miles away in Alaska. Cat would have had to literally drive right by my house, where SOR headquarters is. Didn't even wave. Jerk. Christina and Josh Clevenger said their tuxedo cat Panda wandered away from their Thurston County home, and they spent more than a week searching the neighborhood and posting alerts online and hoping to find it. A couple were shocked when a photo posted to a Seattle Lost Pets group on Facebook revealed Panda had turned up at a Home Depot in Alaska. Turned out, Panda had apparently hitched a ride in a mail truck or similar vehicle and ended up in a transit center in Rochester, Washington, where he wandered into the shipping container bound for the Kenai store. An employee at the store took Panda to the local veterinarian, where he was given a microchip and received clearance to fly home. United Angels, a Washington state nonprofit that raises money for pets with medical emergencies, helped coordinate Panda's flight home, which was provided free of charge by Grant Aviation. Panda's owners said he's settling back in the home and recovering from the approximate 10 days he spent trapped in the shipping container. Really? A cat recovering from that? See, this is where I don't like the media. Why do we have to sensationalize everything? Do you think the cat really gives a care that it wandered off from its owners? No, cats don't like anybody but themselves. Well, except my two puss. I like them. They may care. But either way, that cat had a wandering nature, decided to take a vacation without wearing a mask crossing the Canadian border. All right, all the way to Alaska. You really think the cat cared if it wandered off from its house to go on a vacation? And now it's traumatized by this? Ah, come on. Feisty. So it's clear from the menu at Josh Nyland's popular Sydney, Australia restaurant that it isn't your typical high-end seafood place. Instead of using a simple tuna steak or anything deep fried, you're likely to eat a striped marlin, andouille, and broadbill swordfish bacon. What you're actually served on your plate at St. Peter is far from regular cuts of fish. Why? They want you to eat the whole thing. Eyeballs, guts, everything. All right? They just wanted you to eat it. And they mix it all up. You know, it's called exotic that it's all about this food waste thing, which, we do waste a lot of food. We do. Then you get the grocery store up by my house that literally says, oh, rotten? Oh, we'll throw it out. 10 days late? We won't throw it out. We'll put it up on price. We'll mark it up. Anyways, all these foodies now, they want you to eat everything from pig's ears to fish eyes. A little bit of eye of newt in there, too. In the U.S., apparently 30 to 40% of the food supply is wasted, according to the Department of Agriculture. But the USDA also says that nearly 11% of the U.S. households didn't have enough food to eat at some point during 2019. It wasn't from a lack of food, but was because hungry households didn't have the money to buy what they needed. At the same time, livestock generates 15% of the world's greenhouse gases through methane emissions. Yes, cows fart, pigs fart. Guess what? You fart too. You're part of the greenhouse gases. What are you going to do? Put a plug in you? Doesn't work that way. You'll build up. You'll die if you do that. Right? Anyways, they want you eating everything of the animal now. That's going to be the next thing for the carnivores out there. They want you eating everything. The liver, the heart, the lungs. Maybe not the intestines. But if you wash them out, you can make a good sausage. No, this is the next one. This is going to be the next one. So instead of vegan burgers, we're getting back to, liver burgers or intestine burgers or heart burgers. Wrap yourself up in the meat. Well, Canadian border crossing, they didn't let this person or this animal by. Traveler from the United States learned a little bit of a hard lesson, being denied entry into Canada for forgetting to bring any travel documents or ID whatsoever. Without the proper paperwork, authorities with the Canadian Border Services Agency were forced to restrict the traveler's access entirely, even despite the little guy being reportedly telling the CBSA it was there for essential reasons. What was it? It was a black bear. Little bear cub trying to sneak across the border, didn't have a mask on, no passport, which, by the way, we never had to use passports. Hate that. Anyways, he tried to make a forceful attempt to gain entry, but it just wasn't happening. Our Canucks on the border there, they just said, look, we got enough bears around here, man. Go down south. This bear is actually the first one to say if Trump or Biden wins, he's leaving the United States, by the way. Just thought we'd get that in there. But he was denied entry. You got to have a passport. Even you bears. Abide by the rules. New study shows that young Americans on travel and adventure also drew a surprising statistic. Get this. It's a shocking number. Between the ages of 11 and 24, that they've never seen a cow in person. How sad is that? 42% of the participants, there was 3,500 Americans who were taking part in this study, and 42% of them said they've never left the U.S., while 15% said they've never been outside of the state where they were born, and 88% agreeing that they would love to travel more. But a whole third of them, 33%, said they've never seen a cow in person. How horrible is that? Seriously. Are we that city locked? Like, I know the people in Vancouver are. Having them drive over the Port Mann Bridge to go into the Fraser Valley, that's a nightmare for those people. A nightmare. They have no idea where they're going. They're like, is this Saskatchewan? No, it's called Abbotsford. Anyways, so during a stressful year defined by the pandemic and politics, some might have a cow to learn that cow hugging has allegedly emerged as a new wellness trend. Yeah, that's a little too hippie for me. We're getting rid of that story too. Finally tonight, congratulations, the National Toy Hall of Fame in New York has announced this year's inductees. They are classic baby doll, Baby Nancy, Sidewalk Chalk, and the game Jenga. I love Jenga. Strong National Museum of Play said this year's inductees into the National Toy Hall of Fame were chosen from a field of 12 finalists that included Bingo. Oh, my grandma's not going to like that. Brayer Horses, Light Bright. How is Light Bright not in? This is horrible. Masters of the Universe, My Little Pony, Risk. You got to be kidding me. Risk, Sorry, and Yahtzee are not in there? Who runs this Hall of Fame? This is blasphemous. Who the hell is Baby Nancy? Well, she was created in 1968. Yeah, okay. Oh, I get why. Okay, this is a good movement, actually. Baby Nancy actually gets in because she was the best-selling black doll in Los Angeles by the end of the year 1968 when it was distributed nationwide. Baby Nancy made history the following year by being the first doll with an afro hairstyle. That is actually really cool. Really cool. Because for so long, it was just white dollies. Very cool. Fans of Jenga say, Jenga, I understand. Now, if you want to turn Jenga up a little bit, just to be honest, build yourself a fire and then play fire Jenga. That's where it gets really fun. We used to do that on the river all the time. My hands still yearn for the heat of the taking one from the middle and putting it on top while it's burning. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. In your opinion, what's the best extraterrestrial movie out there? Burn through a few of these. Ryan likes Cocoon. David likes Aliens. Sputnik for David. Melinda, Close Encounters of the Third Kind because it's the most accurate. Kimberly loved Communion. It rocked her world. Jim Goodall loved the movie Life. Close Encounters for Debbie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original version for Philip Mantle. Chris Desmarais from MUFON says 1954, The Thing from Another Planet. Ron, E.T. seems realistic. So does that bad hairdo of yours, Ron. Chris, Hangar 18, it's close to the truth. Not with the fake journalists on there. Amy, Alien and Aliens, hands down. Leo, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956. Merle, Signs. Reason, because it is. Thank you to everybody on the Thought of the Day today. Thank you to Captain Shirk for getting me upset with the news. And to R Keith Andrews for the ET connection. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Those in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAP, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and to the Snarkers and Snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, yep, we got room for them too. Good night. Solid manly show there. Solid manly show by me. Feeling it. Feeling good about it. It's a good way to head into the weekend with some R Keith that way. Just saying. Let me go over. Okay, guys, we got 84 people. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back. All right. All the show downloads. Be right back. I'm Dave Scott. Be right back. I'm Dave Scott. Be right back. All right. Quickly boost this up. Be right with you guys. Where are you? Where are you guys hiding? There you are. No problem, Andrew. What we do here. Yes. And I think 1986, where a kid gets into a spaceship, goes back in
That's
time, and then
definitely
the
not
spaceship brings him back, but it's
Definitely not.
And built like humans.
hour. R Keith Andrews, Sean Logan. Sean Logan. Oh, Chris Jarvis, awesome. Tell him to get a hold of Corrance, the booking guy, and let's get him on the air. I want to talk about the thylacine, man. That's a show that I've wanted to do for a long time. And thank you, Andrew Fricker, for wearing your Spaced Out Radio shirts all over to work and everywhere across the UK. I really appreciate that, man. Hope you enjoy the new shirts we're going to have going. Clear Floss, how you doing? I still think the thylacine is totally existent. Just the numbers are low. Thurston Howell the Third. How are you, man? 4. Hey, Dirty Filth, how you doing, buddy? What's on the agenda for the cartoon this week, man? I mean, now that you're a big star, you know, drawing pictures for Brandon Fugel, I mean, do you have time for little old us anymore? Teasing, brother. Teasing. Brandon Fugel, you're funny. You're welcome, Derek. I had pizza for dinner, too. I'd love to do a Megalodon show. Yeah, Derek, I'm hoping to get the new shirts up on Monday. I just got to talk to my web guy about getting the new link because we're getting it out of the T Public. And so we're going to make it a little bit more direct. What we're going to be doing is having our store is going to be on a separate Facebook page called the SOR Vault, and that way you just put your orders in there. We have them made, and then it'll be plus shipping. So that way, prices should remain the same, but it's going to be a lot more direct to you. So it'll be good. Yeah, I totally want a Megalodon show. Trying to find someone who will speak about Megalodon? That is tough. Ask Corrance, the booking guy. I knew you'd be up for that Woo Train shirt. I had you in mind, Derek, when we were making that. Yeah, the shirts that we have, I'm getting them done locally here. There's a lady named Sherry who owns a small little store called Sherry Shirt Shack, and she's just a sweetheart. And so we are getting everything done through her, and yeah, we're going to have a lot of cool stuff coming, guys. Like, this is just the initial start of the t-shirts. We got a bunch more coming. We'll have a bunch more made. Bunch of cool designs coming. Hey, Derek, don't forget about the Book of Woo. I don't know if you saw the Book of Woo. Let me put the Book of Woo up here for you. Hold on. Where are they? Is that it? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Hold on, let me just shrink this down. There. Two seconds, you guys. The Book of Woo. Raul, yes, I do think Megalodon still exists. There will be hoodies, jackets, beanies, ball caps, t-shirts, tank tops, sweaters. It's going to be a real clothing line, but I'm going to do some other really cool stuff too, which is I'm going to be getting some other products made as well. I'm just going to try and find people to do them in town. We're going to be able to put our posters up. So we'll have the SOR We Own the Night posters. All sorts of cool stuff like that. And so I'm trying to get some Bigfoot soap made. I'm going to put up the Mighty Moose beard oil as well. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. I'm looking to get some... I don't know if I'm going to do these myself or get somebody to do them, but I'm looking to get some Carl candles made up. So that'll be really cool. Just a little bit of everything, but we're not going to get into like phone cases or shit like that. Not interested in that. We will be getting stickers, and up here it's kind of hard to get coffee mugs, but we're working on a bunch of other stuff. Here, I'll show you. I don't know if you guys saw all of these. Hold on. I'll show you another one here. Another sample of the shirts. I'm going to try some. No. I want to get more into designs like this. Get some fun designs. Okay. This is kind of where the creativity kind of comes in. Like this one right here. So that, I don't know if you guys can see it on your side, but let me just expand that. In the gas pump, it says element 115, which is really cool. Yeah, I gotta get myself one of those too. Show you some. This one. This one's kind of cool. This is a special Carl shirt. Yeah, we'll have a pair of Carl shirts. This one comes with We Own the Night with Carl. And we also, in the same font, have a We Own the Night shirt where that's all it says is We Own the Night. Trying to think of the other designs. We are making, we are bringing back the Team Stump t-shirt. We're also going to be making the same shirt, but in Team Rock. What other one? There's a couple other the old ones that we're keeping. And then we still have some new ones to make too. I'm going to have to figure out a breakfast for dinner shirt. Oh, I'll probably end up making a breakfast for dinner shirt. But no, I'll put a big like red ring around it and a line across. Yeah, I'll show you another one here. Sherry did a great job on our Bigfoot one. But the hats we're getting, they're going to be like stitched in. Like the hats are going to be a little bit more expensive. But a couple things you need to remember. Like $20 American is $26 Canadian right now. So our hats are going to be a little bit more expensive because I love a really good hat and a form-fitted hat, and they're going to be actually stitched. It's not going to be any patches or anything cheap and cheesy. The hats I went a little bit more crazy on. I got to get a couple of them made here in the next little bit, so that way I could wear them during the show, so you guys will be able to see what they're all about. There's the Bigfoot shirt. Yeah, I will be getting car stickers. I don't know about coffee mugs. We will have posters. We're going to get some stuff for everything, but I think that's a great Bigfoot. I do. Kind of going into the portal. There will be girls' tank tops as well. And the one thing I like about Sherry is she uses a high quality t-shirt. Like it's none of this excuse me, bogus shit. So she is just very, very adamant about making sure that her stuff is of a very good quality. Once we get something like really smoking awesome, we are going to like get a nice zip up hoodie. That'll be a little bit more expensive, but we'll see how it goes. But we are going to get like We Own the Night beanies and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll check on the travel mugs. I will check on them. Yes, filth. Toque. But 80% of our audience doesn't know what a toque is. This is a toque. Yeah, what I'll do is I will maybe what I'll do next week is I'll take a video and I'll post it with all of our logos that we'll be doing. One sec here. Show you another one here. Oh, that's the Woo Train one. This one I love. This one I absolutely... This one was my design. Not gonna lie, I'm taking credit for this one. I love this shirt. So that's a Janet jet that flies into Area 51. So that's why we have Janet Nevada tours. And behind it, that's actually the Luxor in Vegas. Yeah, I'll make sure Marty gets hooked up. I've had it happen to me twice now in Vegas where my flight has been delayed while I've been waiting to take off and leave. And my flight has been delayed because Janet jets were taking off. Going to Area 51. One sec here. I'll give you one more here. This is the one Derek wants. The new Woo Train shirt. That looks awesome. That one turned out amazing. Anyways, everyone, we're going to call it the night here on the show. Big thank you to all of you for hanging on out tonight and making this another special night. But I'm going to get going. I got to get to bed here. And much love to all of you. You guys have an amazing weekend. I'll talk to you Monday. Don't forget Michael W. Hall on Sunday. I'll have all the scheduling up and updated for tomorrow night. I'll get back in the studio. Don't forget to read my blog. And hopefully I'll get the store set up. Now, just so you know, the shirts and everything, I think the shirts we're going to be able to have. I just got to talk with Sherry about getting some pricing. But just don't be afraid if you see the pricing, Americans, because it will be in Canadian dollars. So, going to start off with this run, and then we'll be adding stuff very, very soon. And I'll hopefully get that up on the store here very, very quickly. All right? Talk to you later, everyone, and much love. Have a great weekend. We own the night together, man. Take care.